Okay. Yep. So it just might be a little shorter of a class tonight, but that's okay. We still are going over, we're making good time here, so we're just going to continue going. We're going to go more into why this script attaches to the audience. Even that word itself, attaches. That in itself is a word that's not commonly used in the Hollywood industry, I believe. They don't really care what attaches to the audience. They just want the audience to be sucked in. They want the audience to keep coming back. They want the audience to, be like pigs and come get eat from their trough. All right? Hollywood looks at us like, well, they don't look at us as people. Let's put it that way. With some of the stuff that they're writing, some of the movies and things that I've watched recently, my goodness. So why does this script attach to the audience? Well, what we're doing here is we're showing storytelling as compressed life experiences. Kind of like one of those soup blocks. You know what I mean? It's a little block and you throw it in the water and it turns into soup. Soup, but it's compressed into a little block. Okay, storytelling as compressed life experiences. Let's see, right here. There we go, right here. I'm going to stay right here. Most scripts attempt to entertain audiences. The script attempts to awaken them. I'll say that again. Make sure I get this thing going. Just double check. Oh, there we go. Okay. Gotta find a spot where it's not gonna scream on us. Most of these scripts attempt to entertain audiences, right? As I was telling you earlier, in Hollywood, it's all about entertainment. Entertainment. Okay, well that's not the case for this script, folks. This script is to awaken people. It's to awaken the value of themselves, which my generation struggles with very, very much. And one of the most powerful abilities in storytelling in general is the ability to compress years of life experience into short narratives. So in normal life, people gain wisdom through experience, right? Heart rate, loss, reflection, time. These realizations can take years or decades to form. Decades. But film and literature can compress these realizations into moments. And when an audience watches a character arrive at a philosophical insight, they experience the insight emotionally in real time. Okay, this is recognition before understanding. Our audiences often will recognize the truth emotionally before fully understanding it intellectually. So when the girl says humanity didn't fail me, it just kept moving, viewers recognize something deeply familiar with that. Alarm bells should be going off in their heads. Ding, ding, ding. Because most people have experienced moments where their personal suffering did not stop the world around them. Very relatable to anyone. The world continued. People continued living their lives. The realization can be painful, but it's also part of maturity. And the film captures an experience and allows the audience to encounter it through the character rather than through their own life circumstances. So, what's going on here? The film is provoking introspection. Bing, bing, bing. Something very common in my class is the word introspection. Introspection. Such an important part of life. Introspection. In the script, we're removing any of the distractions that traditional scripts rely on. There are no villains. There are no chase sequences. There are no explosive moments. The tension is internal rather than external. Okay? And because of this, our audience cannot simply just observe the story. And we don't want them to just sit there and watch with their mouth open. You ever see a mouth breather? We don't want that when people are watching our films. Nobody wants that, but a lot of it is how you write your script. But no. They got to reflect. They got to reflect on their own thoughts, their own beliefs. And this movie captures that. It creates that psychological space where viewers begin asking themselves the same questions the character is asking. We're mirroring the audience's inner dialogue. So, in the beginning of the film, we have, and a lot of this was, the dialogue especially, cast did a wonderful job. And these voiceovers, because these voiceovers they're functioning as a philosophical inner monologue, right? Many viewers recognize these thoughts because they have had similar reflections privately. Questions about meaning, connection, and the nature of love within many people's internal dialogue. When a character expresses these thoughts aloud, y'all paying attention here? Okay, I gotta make sure, because this is really important here. When a character expresses these thoughts aloud, the audience watching is often going to feel that their own internal questions are being articulated. Because they are. The recognition builds attachment between the viewer and the story. It's no longer a character in a movie, it's you. And it's because we love our audience. And we want, their own internal questions to be articulated in a way that's feasible for them if they can't do it by themselves. And so it's a safe space, right? Nowadays we always talk about safe space. I want a safe space. Well, this is a safe space for those existential questions. If I were to put it in Gen Z slang, right? Trauma dump. Come trauma dump, brah. Come trauma dump. These stories allow the audience to explore difficult questions at a safe distance. Most people do not regularly confront existential questions directly in their everyday lives. Something they put on the back burner. That's why Gen Z sleepers. They're sleeping. And a film like this allows them to observe someone else confronting those questions. Right? And, there's philosophical tension. The daughter believes freedom comes from detachment. And the mother believes meaning comes from choosing connection. And the film does not resolve this tension by declaring one position is correct, right? It's not a monkey see, monkey do kind of situation. It's much more complex. It's why we purposely do not resolve the tension by declaring that one is right and one is wrong. Instead, the audience must consider both perspectives. And the mother believes meaning comes from choosing connection. The film does a great job of doing this through her, and the daughter is detachment. And so the unresolved philosophical tension encourages viewers to participate in this meaning-making process for themselves, right? Make a decision for yourself. We're going to educate you so you can. So then, let's look at the power of Mama. Mama's scene, right? The emotional climax, if you will, of this film occurs in that conversation. And the girl, subjectively, arrives at nihilism, believing that nothing truly matters, and the mom responds by accepting that premise rather than rejecting it. She reframes love as a choice rather than a universal truth. If nothing in the universe guarantees meaning, then choosing connection becomes an act of personal creation rather than obedience to destiny. Okay, now let's look at that spiritual residue. Woo! My favorite part. Spiritual residue. This is the spiritual residue of it all. Even though this film is very philosophical, and it's not rather than it's not religious, but this philosophical gateway, if you will, it produces an experience that most people will find spiritual. And the film confronts one of humanity's deepest questions. If life has no guaranteed meaning, then why do we still love and care for each other? It's suggesting that meaning emerges from the universe, but not from human choice. And all of that is completely intentional. And that's just one. One of the ways that spiritual residue is applied here, right? Through philosophy. Knowledge is power. The wisdom of the whole deal, right? The wisdom of that final line, right? Nothing changes, but nothing stays the same. That captures the central paradox of this whole damn thing. The universe remains indifferent, but human perceptions and relationships can transform. Meaning does not come from cosmic guarantees. Meaning appears through shifts in understanding. So the real gift of a story like this, if I can give you something you can write down, that is. The real gifts are the things you can't write down, folks. But stories like this endure, because they provide the audience with moments of clarity. A viewer may enter the story with confusion about life or relationships and leave with a new way of understanding all of these things that they experience. And that's why this is one of the best damn scripts I've ever helped write, because it's accelerating that insight. It's allowing everyone that watches it to encounter the philosophical relationships that might otherwise take years of life experience to recognize, or to react, or to take in, or to reach. It's a cheat code. This picture, right here, inside the voice of love falling down, this picture is a cheat code. The audience will watch this and they'll be left with this beautiful spiritual residue, this gift from people's hearts, from people's souls, from their memories, from the wisdom they've accumulated in life, and it's all going to be just like a syringe full of morphine, just straight into whoever watches this film. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And that's part of the reason why it's going to stand the test of time. Because everything that is conveyed in this is relative to, time. These key concepts are always going to be gone over and debated and broken down throughout history. And so this script will be along the lines of something that people will look back on and go, wow, that was so ahead of its time, but so ancient at the same time. Not because of who wrote it or anything like that. No, it's just what it's about, right? The philosophy behind it, the spiritual activation of unknown knowledge. And that doesn't come from me, that doesn't come from anyone per se. It comes from, that's subjective, isn't it? But it comes not from us. That's why spiritual residue is so important in a script. Use things not of this world to reach the people of this world, is what I say. And I've been very successful in my writing because of it. And I do believe you all will be very successful if you incorporate that into your creative works. So there you go, folks. There's a little more about Inside the Voice of Love Falling Down. I could sit here for hours and explain more and more and more about some of this, but I was trying my best today to summarize everything as best as I could, because a lot of this stuff could be talked about for hours. But here's my feeble attempt, to summarize some of the most important knowledge a human being can learn. So there you go, folks. Inside the Voice of Love Falling Down. Thanks for showing up to class, and I'm sure we will have another one very soon. I'm not sure how much more we're going to cover this particular script, considering we have gotten through most of it. I might do a couple more breakdowns of some of the content in it, but yeah, we'll probably keep going with it. It's a good one. You guys like it? Yeah, we'll keep going with it. We'll keep going with it. But tomorrow, we got the other script we're working on. I think it's Talent. Yep, Talent is tomorrow. So get your talents in a bunch, because we have Talent tomorrow. All right, folks. That's all you got for me today.
Yes, tell me.